Welcome to Secure Management Faculties, where your mind is key before you unlock with the same secure agent Dreyfus. Get those standard defaults out of the way below the Sell Your Guns tab, securemanagementfaculties.com, and also the Secure Management Faculties cash tag, send for a reason. All right, outside of that quick little update, let's get straight into the week word number 3, and we'll be using the week word number 3 as forward. And again, as the standard breakdown for this image presented on the screen as the search depiction of the image that is displayed, you will see the definition in the side, the center concentration, and the reflective images that support it. And then on the left-hand side, you will see the actual reflective, magnified, descriptive enhancement of the definition itself. So let's jump into that. We'll be talking about forward, which is in the direction that one is facing or traveling toward the front, onward, so as to make progress towards success, or should I say successful conclusion. Now, it's not too much break it down here. It's self-explanatory. Forward, moving forward in the direction that one is facing or traveling. That's usually by practical context, right? Toward the front. And here's where we get into the more figuratively and more subjective expression of it, but still objective. Onward, so as to make progress towards a successful conclusion. That could be physically or mentally. So this is actually a good choosing for the week word number 3, because I do have an active initiating forwardness in form of transparency and physicality together in union. So in particular, I'm going to use that example as a real example of moving forward, and also be pulling from the enhancement of the bonus content that has been uploaded with this week, which is going to be in your keep, whichever you view. If you view in your keep first or view this, it doesn't matter, but this will be going forward towards that and pulling some explanations in terms of reference from that. So the real life context and principle, I just hit a threshold. As everyone has, they have a certain amount of days they have to have in their career path of initiation. That's what I call it. So I hit this 90-day period, and now I have the option to move forward and explore different, let's say, identifiables, if you will. And so when I say identifiables, I mean identifiables that I want to attach myself to while being in a state of forward completion. If you need to understand this in detail or more detailed elaboration, just go to in your keep, and there will be further elaborations about that. Moving forward is just not about just picking up your box and picking up your briefcase and just moving forward and setting a destination. Because you will find out when you get to that destination, especially if you really did some work, right, to sort of work to get to that destination, the destination never actually fills up the adequacy. And what I mean by this, even if it does fill up the adequacy, there's still layers of something that is calling to the journeyman of completion, right? It's two sides of one coin, if you will. You know, it's not about relying on the destination, it's about being the destination. And to walk forward, you're only walking forward into what you already are and what you're already doing. And so this is very important, because, you know, lessons out there push hard and they say, go for it, get a goal for this, get a goal for that. And, you know, the thing is, people, while they're goalifying themselves to look outside themselves to get to an established location, they can do a lot of things that actually suppress what it means to be optimally absorbent of actual information to actually be befitting of that goal, right? We all known those people that we've been next to in class, right, through our institutionalized years of schooling. Doesn't matter if it's grade school, middle school, high school, whatever or not. that they simply just had the tactics in the network in place to cheat on maximized tests, and they could just get past. Now they will learn enough in order, obviously, to comprehend, but more subjectively and objectively or not, they will be able to have an on-hand network to just sort of cheat and pass. You had that one kid that would do your homework for you or something like that. Things of this nature, and so as long as you memorize, the imprint of what it means to be an actual moving forward, you can still get by. This is how we subjectively and objectively get people who are, yes, they have the neurological remembrance of the leadership, and then they've been around it, and pretty much all that's left is just to put it in the subconscious in the brain, and then they've been doing it and they become a candidate, and that's great. But solistically wise, it becomes unbefitting because it wasn't really a path of learning in the misfulness of moving forward as that goal. It was just to absorb the things that's the right answer to get to that goal. And to be honest, I'm going to be honest with in the real world context, that is actually fine, right? It's not something that you should probably be admitting, but guess what? I'm not about hiding truth here, in the context to the extent of what I'm talking about, because certain truths do need to be hidden in capacity to how much damage they can cause. Like if people knew, for instance, let's say if they bit their left pinky, right, figuratively speaking, 1,000 bumblebees will come and sting because of the pheromones in the blood, specifically at a certain angle of your pinky. And whatever, let's say something like that happened biological because of the fact that the blood was unleashed at a certain time, or whatever pheromonic environment you need to be in. It will be chaotic because now random people just going to be starting having this biomechanical cooperative weapon to be able to operate and summon all these bees to do devastation, and it's not going to be for all good purposes. So I understand what it means about that type of what it means to withhold for certain information that is catastrophically damaging. But I digress. The whole point is moving forward is not the capacity, right? Wait, I want to stop that again. The superficial point of imprinting memory of moving forward just by acquirement and memorization again to that goal, that is fine, because the capacity of that is an action, and still the imprint of those skills are facilitated within the person. But understand that consequence and what that means. Understand that con and that actuality of just being a storehouse of archiving information and effective skills, more or less in comparison. But understand the true imprint of being at your destination will never be fulfilled, because once truth arrives, in a sense, or you see a form of truth, there will be a dismantling effect in one's what we regard as soul, and the truth will be revealed in context when the further comparison of that so-called forward destination may not be as cracked up as it need to be, as it should be, but the lacking piece is really coming from the lack of understanding that the destination need to be completed within oneself. Now, not to stretch this out even further, it's just simple. Lesson, clear. Be the destination continuously. I'm always my destination. I'm always in completion. I never have to go anywhere to find completion. But completion is also a reflection to what I already am. So this is acknowledging moving forward, and also being in the capacity of moving forward, and also acknowledging not getting to those so-called moving forward destinations. Because if you're always complete in your destination, you never have to go anywhere to complete it, right? But the fact of the matter is, by indulgence, you would prefer to have this to look this way, this to look that way. That is understood. But the point is to always be the finished product, but still be working on the product's creation, if you will. And I understand that moving forward, and I want you guys to understand that moving forward is that. So even if you hit a point where you have to stop that line for whatever reason, it could be family, financial, It can be, let's say you want to be a track star or something like that, and you lost your leg, right? Is your state of being a setup of completion already, regardless of what goes on around you, right? Let's set some examples real quick, not to elongate this. What is a state of practical being of moving forward in completion and also get into a goal or not get into a goal? Well, first of all, let's say, oh, I want to be a tactical guardsman, lost both legs. Is it over? Well, obviously for that tactical guardsman and in specific to whatever it is that you want to refer that to in context, the legs are gone. Technically, that form of it is more or less out of reach, unless there's some way in capacity that you can replace the legs optimally to be as functional as living legs. Then you jump into cybersecurity. Oh my God, look what just happened here at that moment. You found a way to transparently transform your already completed destination that you were in when you lost your legs. And even though that destinational goal had to change, you were already in a state to be able to continuously adapt that moving forward, but still always being in that state of moving forward of completion. It's not something to, it's not really that hard. And quite frankly, I shouldn't have to excessively talk about it, but there are examples out there that need to be said. I've said this example in the past to a person of a particular interest that had a set in this career set. You want to play the game of ball, right? Let's say basketball, for example, right? You want to be this player, doesn't matter overseas, NBA, I don't care what league you choose. And let's say for whatever reason it got cut short. Why would you not, or why should you, or shouldn't you have been implementing, let's say, coaching, right? Coaching in that framework, as in coaching the game, being the leader of the game, being that the head team lead in that formation of being the practicality of being able to be the game standing still and in motion. So when the motion had to stop, you never had to stop. And so that's what this is about. Understand what it means to be moving forward in practicality, in place, and still in motion, and simply understand that being the finished product now is what's most important. It's not about getting to that destination. Let that destination reflectively reach there when it arrives, but do your due diligence, serve your time, like an example of me hitting that certain threshold period of 90 days, have the options open up, and then execute and make that outward reflection reflect the inside. And even if that doesn't transpire, you're always in completion. As a matter of fact, where you are now is still in completion, regardless if it's set for you by indulgence of preference or not. The fact of the matter is you're still always moving in that complete and still always moving in transit. All right. Secure management faculties, when your mind is key before you unlock what is seen. Secure Agent Dreyfus. Again, securemanagementfaculties.com. Hit below. If you have an additional firearm that you don't no longer want, hit the Sell Your Guns tab. Follow that link, fill out the paperwork, send that firearm out, get that extra currency cash tag for the Secure Management Faculties channel. If you want to send some support in the form of currency, make sure it's for a reason, and please list that reason, whether it was broad, indirect, etc. Appreciate you for this week. Let's move on. Let's establish these goals, and let's be finished in place and acquire our goals that's out of place. See you on the next upload.